And so Jesus is accused of being a dangerous revolutionary. They also accuse Jesus of telling people to not pay taxes to Caesar. Now, is that what Jesus said? Oh. Remember, Jesus said, give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, but give to God what belongs to God. Jesus said the opposite. But they accuse Jesus of telling people to not pay their taxes to Caesar. The third accusation is he claims to be Christ, a king. So he is a direct threat to Caesar. So Pilate interrogates Jesus regarding these charges in verse 11. Look at verse 11 again. And the governor asked him, saying, are you the king of the Jews? That's the accusation. Are you the king of the Jews? And Jesus said to him, it is as you say. Now notice Pilate doesn't ask if he's the Christ. Are you the Christ of the Jews? He doesn't care about that. That's a religious title. He says, are you the king of the Jews? A king is a threat to Caesar's authority. Now F.F. Bruce, a Greek scholar who's gone to be with the Lord, he points out that in the Greek, the emphasis of Pilate's question is on the word you. So Pilate's question is more like, are you the king of the Jews? You are the king of the Jews? Maybe Pilate asked the question with disbelief or shock. After all, Jesus is a simple carpenter from Galilee. He doesn't look like a king. He doesn't dress like a king. He's not dressed like royalty. He's not wearing royal garments or fancy clothing. Plus, remember, the religious leaders beat up Jesus, pummeled him earlier in the previous night, and so his face is bloodied and bruised and swollen. Jesus doesn't look like a king to Pilate. He doesn't look like a dangerous revolutionary. He doesn't look like he's someone who is subverting the Roman government. And so Pilate asks, are you the king of the Jews? Are you the threat? Are you what the fuss is all about? You're the reason the religious leaders showed up here at my palace so early in the morning? You? And in response, Jesus affirms that he is the king of the Jews, saying to Pilate, it is as you say. And that's it. He doesn't try to explain it. He doesn't do a miracle to prove it. He just, yeah, I am. Now, Luke's gospel says at this point, Pilate takes Jesus back out to the religious leaders because they won't come in. And Pilate declares, I find no fault in this man. I find no fault in this man. Pilate declares his innocence. This is a trial. They've made their accusations. Pilate interrogates him, comes back out and says he's innocent. He's no threat to Caesar. Now, in a religious trial, or in a civil trial, judicial trial, right, when the judge declares a person innocent, what happens next? Case dismissed. But that's not what happens here. Pilate's initial ruling was Jesus is innocent, but then the religious leaders made other accusations against Jesus. Look at verse 12. And while he was being accused by the chief priests and elders, he answered nothing. And then Pilate said to him, do you not hear how many things they testify against you? But he answered him not one word, so that the governor marveled greatly. Pilate was used to defendants defending themselves, right? He's used to people defending themselves against the accusations that are being made, but Jesus was silent. It says he answered not one word. He just stood there silently as all these accusations are flying against him. Not a single word, so much so that the governor marveled greatly because Jesus just stood there silently. Now, Jesus was silent in fulfillment of the prophecy in Isaiah 53, verse 7, that says he was oppressed and he was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth. He is brought as a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before his shearers is dumb, so he opened not his mouth. Jesus was silent. Listen, Jesus was silent before his accusers because Jesus was dying in our place for our sins as our substitute, and we are guilty before God. There's no defense or excuse Jesus could offer for us. And so he just stood there. Now, again, Luke's account tells us that as the chief priests and elders were shouting accusations against Jesus, that one of them mentioned that Jesus is from Galilee. Luke chapter 23, verse 6. And when Pilate heard that Jesus was from Galilee, Pilate saw a way out of this situation. He saw a way of escape for himself, because Pilate was governor over Judea and Samaria, not Galilee. Herod Antipas ruled over the Galilee, and Herod Antipas happened to be in Jerusalem, staying in the other palace, right across the courtyard from Pilate. And so what does Pilate do? The other Gospels tell us he sent Jesus across the courtyard to the other building, to Herod Antipas, because Jesus was a Galilean. You know how it is dealing with bureaucrats and bureaucracy. You know, you go down to the county, to the office of zoning, and they're like, oh, no, you don't want to be here. You need to go over to, and you go over to that other place. Oh, no, we can't help you here. What you need to do is you need to go down to, right? And they just kind of pass the buck, and that's what Pilate does here. Oh, did you say a Galilean? That's not my jurisdiction. I'm Judea, Samaria. You need to go to the Galilean ruler. That's Herod Antipas. You're going to go across this courtyard here into that other building over there and ask for Herod Antipas. Maybe he can help you out. That becomes the second phase of his civil trial.